Cool. Ready whenever you are. I'm ready. Live from the University of Nebraska at Kearney, it's the weekly Allowance where real-world knowledge is discussed. Your future is what matters, and the broke college student is no longer the status quo. Young or old, don't put your future on hold. We welcome you to the show. I'm your host, Luke Grostenklaus, joined by co-host Austin Partridge. Austin, how's it going today?
It's going well today, Luke. You know, it's a little chilly out there, but we're getting through it. I also got my Invisalign off this week, so I'm doing having a really good week. New teeth, if you will, but so it's a really great feeling. How's your day going, Luke?
Pretty good, yeah. Another week in the books, and yeah, just a little chilly outside. I know it's supposed to get a little cold this weekend, but hopefully it can stay a little bit warmer for as long as it can. And yeah, teeth are looking great. Partridge, pearly white's looking great on the show.
Thank you.
Like I said, wish we had a live TV show because we're pretty good today. But yeah, day's going good, week's going good. So glad to end it with the show this week. Today we're going to talk a little bit about being a millionaire and how you can become a millionaire, and some of like the misconceptions that go with it. Maybe how other people have become millionaires, how maybe we plan to become a millionaire. Me and Austin by no means are millionaires. We're both only 21 years old, so it'd be kind of weird if we were millionaires. But it is a goal. I think it's a goal that we both have, is to maybe have a good retirement, become a millionaire. And I think to start off the show, we wanted to just define what it means to be a millionaire, because I think there's a few misconceptions to what a millionaire actually is. I think a lot of people define being a millionaire as making $1 million annually. But what being a millionaire actually is having a net worth of $1 million. So how do you find your net worth? You take what you own and you subtract what you owe. So you take your assets, all the things that you own, and you subtract your liabilities, all the things that you owe. So if you were trying to determine what your net worth was, you would just throw everything you own into the equation. So for example, if you had a $250 house, say you had $50,000 in cars, $50,000 in a savings account, $100,000 in a college savings fund, and then say you have like $600,000 in your retirement savings, maybe a 401k or Roth IRA, and then you don't have any debt or liabilities, that would add up to just over $1 million. With all that, you would be considered a millionaire because your net worth is over $1 million. So just a little definition of what a millionaire is to start off the segment.
Yeah, I think you summed it up perfectly there. I think there was a huge misconception that if you're a millionaire, you have to make $1 million. At least that's what I thought for the longest time, until I started doing more research on it and listening to guys like Dave Ramsey talk about this important topic of becoming a millionaire. And that's why I'm so excited to be talking about millionaires and how to become one someday. Obviously, as Luke mentioned, we are nowhere near becoming millionaires yet, but we do have plans to eventually become millionaires someday in our future. And that's by no means, a love of money or anything like that. That's simply being financially secure and having a plan in your life. And I know Luke mentioned how to calculate your net worth. And I think it's so important that people actually do this. And it's not to illustrate the importance of money or have it be a controlling factor in our lives, but it's simply to know where we're at with our money. And that's super easy to do. There's plenty of Excel spreadsheets to download, and just throw your numbers in there every month and just kind of track where you're at and where you're going. I think that's so critical to having a plan to eventually build your wealth, and hopefully that's the kind of the goal, to become a millionaire and retire with $1 million someday and have that financial security behind you.
Yeah, and they're saying it's becoming more and more expensive to retire, and you need more and more money when you do retire. And I know something with Social Security, it's always a little shaky of whether it's going to be around when our generation gets to retire. So saving up for retirement and saving that money becomes so much more important and becoming a millionaire in a sense becomes important in that route too. And there's even things online of what should your net worth be at this point in your life. You plug in your age, you plug in what you have right now, you plug in maybe some of your debt, and it'll give you numbers of what you can save each month or what you need to have in savings right now to get to be that millionaire when you are retired. So there are things online where you can plug in numbers, kind of like Austin was saying, to let you know what your net worth should be at the moment and what it needs to be when you retire.
Yeah, I think as we go throughout the show, I think you're going to notice people with seven-figure net worths have these kind of common sense habits when it comes to money and saving and spending. And so those habits are ultimately what led to becoming rich and becoming millionaires. And so if they can do it, my mindset is if they can do it, so can I, and so can anybody. And so that's why I'm really excited to start off the show, and I think we're going to get into some millionaire mythbusters by our good friend Dave Ramsey here upcoming.
Yeah, so to dive into a little bit of Mythbusters, we're just going to go through some of the things that, again, misconceptions. People think that millionaires do these certain things or they drive these certain cars, they live this certain lifestyle. So we're just going to kind of debunk some of the Mythbusters of what it takes to be a millionaire, maybe what their habits are and things like that. Our first one we have on the list is all millionaires are crooks, bad people, and selfish. And that's one that we want to debunk first. Tons of people are afraid to make the sacrifice to becoming rich, like saving and living a smaller budget life. So I think that's when they fill their minds with these things and these stereotypes that millionaires are just spoiled, crooked, and unhappy. It's a lot easier to label millionaires as all those different things rather than to make the sacrifice to become rich and even to be a witness that maybe that's what some of those millionaires did. It's a lot easier just to label them as being crooks or being bad people, being selfish with their money. It's easy to label them as that rather than to save the money yourself and live the lifestyle that they actually lived.
That's a great point there, Luke. And I think, we see oftentimes on the news too of millionaires being painted in a bad picture. You see athletes and celebrities, things like that. But, these high profile bankers and things like that. But, there's never been a millionaire that's called into Dave Ramsey and told him that they got their million by stealing it or becoming a crook or anything like that, being selfish with their money. I think we have this irrational and kind of judgmental image in our head of millionaires and that they're all those big evil bankers. And I think that's not, most of the time that's not the case. And so, yeah, it's going to take some work to become a millionaire, but that doesn't mean being selfish with your money at all. There's so many millionaires that call into Dave Ramsey and just describe how much more they are able to give because they now have this net worth, and I think that's so awesome.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people think that millionaires are all just about having this high status and having a high social status, and if I'm a millionaire, then that means that I'm better than you as a human being, and that's really not the case. You might find some wealthy people, some millionaires do think that way, which I don't agree with, but you also will find some that they just wanted to become a millionaire for financial independence. It wasn't a thing where I want to become a millionaire for social status, and that's kind of what we hit on at the beginning of the show is we're not trying to become millionaires just so we can brag to the average person that, hey, I have more money than you. Mm-hmm. It's just more for ourselves of, hey, I have financial independence. I can support my family. I'm going to have a great retirement and all these different things rather than a high social status.
Yeah, and just going along with that, I think the majority of millionaires in today's society, we have no idea that they're millionaires because they don't show it. They don't tell people that they are. They just have that financial independence for themselves, and I think that's incredible, and I think that's kind of what I'm striving to be in my future.
Yes, that's so true. We'll go into our next misconception, and it is all millionaires inherited their wealth. And so if you look at statistics, I've read a book called The Millionaire Next Door, read a few chapters in that, and The Millionaire Next Door, citing that as a source, it says that more than 80% of the wealthy accumulated their wealth in one generation. So that means only 20% of the millionaires have inherited their wealth in America today. So 1 out of 5 inherited their wealth. That makes 4 out of 5 people that are millionaires today started from nothing and they became a millionaire in their own generation.
Yeah, that certainly makes it easy to become a millionaire if you just inherit the money. But as Luke just pointed out, 80% of people who are millionaires now are first generation rich, and that illustrates such an important point that, you know, not all millionaires just inherit this money. And I think that's the most common misconception that people think. Many people just want to think of rich as a bunch of spoiled jerks who haven't worked a day in their lives because they got their money from, you know, their family, and they're just trust fund babies now. But as those statistics point out, that's not the case.
Yeah, like you said, it would be a much easier route to become a millionaire if you just inherited it all, and that might happen in some cases, but you'll see more of the millionaires, and a lot of people don't want to believe this, but you can't really argue with the facts from this book. Most of the millionaires, they started with nothing, they saved up, they didn't drive luxurious cars, they didn't buy luxurious houses, they probably bought their jeans from Old Navy maybe. I mean, weren't buying expensive pairs of jeans. I know that's one question Dave Ramsey always likes to ask is, what's the most expensive pair of jeans you've ever bought? And sometimes it might be $100, $120, but a lot of times you'll hear these millionaires, they'll be like, nah, $20, $25. So those are kind of the kind of people where it doesn't look like your average millionaire, kind of the stereotype we put on them, but your average millionaire could be the person living in a 3-bedroom house with 2 used cars, wearing jeans from Old Navy or Sears or whatever it may be. So it doesn't always have to be the people that are wearing name brand stuff and driving Lexuses and all those different things.
That's so true, and that kind of brings us to our next point of a lot of people may think that millionaires don't necessarily pay their taxes, or they take all these tax cuts in order to make their millions. And I hate to burst that bubble, but the top 1% of earners in our country pay roughly 40% of the taxes. And that number could go even higher depending on certain tax legislation. But, you know, rich people, millionaires, they pay their taxes. They don't try to cheat the IRS. That's not a financially smart way of building your wealth. And so I think that's a huge misconception that millionaires in today's society just take all of these tax cuts in order to accumulate and have that $1 million.
Yeah, and I think something a lot of people do is they look at maybe the small percentage of things that happen. Maybe there are those millionaires out there that try and cheat the system, or maybe try and cut their taxes by some sort of way, and people take those small percentage of things that happen and they make it out to where that's what always happens with every single millionaire. And so I would say a total lack of integrity is probably not the best way to become rich. I think we've seen it happen before, but you've also seen people that have total lack of integrity that also falter too, or it doesn't help them become rich. And I would say that happens more often than not. When you see a lack of integrity, think of the situation like Enron, for example, where they're switching numbers around. That came back to bite them in the butt, and I think that's something that would come back to bite a lot of millionaires in the butt if they tried to do that as well. You're trying to not pay your taxes, and I think that's going to raise some suspicion to the IRS and whatever it may be, and just having that lack of integrity while doing that is not going to be the best route to becoming a millionaire.
I agree with that, and I think integrity is so important. I think you made a great correlation there with businesses and individuals. So kind of our next point is Luke has mentioned it a little bit, but millionaires all drive fancy cars. Luke, what do you think about that?
I think some do. I mean, I think when you're a millionaire, if you have $1 million net worth, or you're making a lot of money, I think that's the opportunity to start driving a nice car if you would like to go that route. Me personally, I'm not a big investment in cars guy, so I don't believe in big investments in cars. If I'm a multi-millionaire one day, maybe I will buy that really nice fancy car. But a little statistic to go along with that, again, we're talking facts here a little bit. It says the average millionaire has figured out that cars really aren't a great investment. And so it says that Ford is top on the list of preferred cars of the average millionaire, setting at 9.4% of millionaires drive these Ford cars. So, like I said, it's certainly not a bad thing to own a nice car once you are rich and once you have that $1 million net worth. But having a nice set of wheels isn't always the best option either. But you do have the option to do that, and I would say that's a good time to do it. But maybe not something I'll do. I know a lot of millionaires that don't drive nice cars. I know a lot of people with that net worth that drive nice used cars, but just not the most fancy.
Yeah, and we've talked on the show before about the purpose of cars and how they're really to get you from point A to point B safely. They're not really there to make you look good, and I think a huge detrimental factor of building your net worth is taking out a car payment to drive that nice car. And so obviously once you do become a millionaire, you have the opportunity to drive that nice car, but taking out those car payments are also a great way to really derail you from ever becoming a millionaire in the first place. So just be careful with that, be smart, yes, have some fun with it, but at the same time, just understand the importance of driving a nice used car.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing to hit on is we want you to be a millionaire so then you can have some fun with your money as well. So if having fun with your money is buying those nice cars, by all means do that. I'm personally I'm a car guy, but I'm not one to invest a lot of money in cars. If I'm a millionaire, it'll probably be investing in a nice golf course membership, maybe buying the best golf clubs out there and doing things on that because that's what I enjoy. So if you enjoy buying the nicest cars and driving those around, by all means do what you enjoy to do when you do have that $1 million net worth. And then kind of the last one on our list for our misconceptions is that you have to have a huge annual income to become a millionaire. Austin, what do you think about this one?
Well, I've listened to a lot of Dave Ramsey, and I've listened to a lot of his calls on his Millionaire themed hour, and it's so surprising that some of millionaires haven't made over $50,000 or $60,000 a year. And I thought that was so astonishing that someone with maybe that low of an income for their entire lives are actually millionaires now. And so, you don't have to make a huge sum of money for your income to be a millionaire. You just have to know how to save and how to spend it. And there's an interesting story listed on Dave Ramsey's website. It was a story of someone buying a grill from Lowe's, and I'll just read you the excerpt here. It says, "I was helping my dad pick up a new grill from Lowe's this morning, and we were talking with one of the employees, and he was unchaining the grill for us and talking about their retirement program and their match contributions and things like that. And he mentioned to the two guys that were just retiring, and one of them was 25, after 25 years. These are really just everyday Lowe's employees that saved and saved and saved. And the first one retired with $1.1 million, and the other guy was a manager for most of his 30 years at Lowe's and retired with $4.3 million. And so that just illustrates that you can have any job, you can make any range of income over your entire life, but if you understand, if you're disciplined with your money, then there's no way that you shouldn't be able to retire a millionaire.
Yeah, I think it's amazing just the status that we put on being a millionaire and what it should look like. It's really just a looks thing to most people. Is you have to have the look to be a millionaire, and if you don't have the look, then there's not a chance that you're a millionaire. And I'm sure those employees from Lowe's did not look, in a sense, like millionaires, and just how we've defined that as a society has kind of gotten a little bit out of the perspective that it's supposed to be. And we'll show you a video a little bit later during the show about a gentleman that cuts grass for a living and has been able to acquire a huge, pretty big net worth by just cutting grass for a living and not having a college degree and all these different things. So a big annual income does help. I mean, it helps out the cause by no doubt. That's just common sense. But it is still possible making maybe a substandard income annually. So just keep those things in mind.
And that's what really motivates me. I'm always worried about if I don't have this huge income, I'll never be able to meet my financial goals in this life. So hearing these stories about people with, these just average incomes, retiring with $1 million really motivates me. And I think, so many people are just afraid of the sacrifices that they've made to become millionaires, like saving and living on a smaller, budgeted lifestyle. I think that it's scary to a lot of people, but I find the motivation in that no matter what my income is in my future, if I use it right and I live the right lifestyle, then I will be financially secure.
Yeah, that's a big thing with me too. Future as an educator, obviously educators are known for not making the most money out of most occupations, but that is something that motivates me as well. Is even if I do have an educator's salary and it's not the biggest, I still have opportunities maybe in the summer or when I'm not at school to still get maybe a part-time job or something else on the side to increase that income a little bit and to become a millionaire. So that'll do it for this part of the show, but we'll come back in a few minutes. That does it for the misconceptions of being a millionaire. When we come back, we will talk about how you yourself can become a millionaire by about 3 different steps in life. It's 19 minutes past the hour. This is the Weekly Allowance.
is this song?
4 minutes, 47 seconds.
Alright. So you're talking about spending and living below your means, talk about income, and then talk about saving?
Yep.
Okay. So I have so under saving, I have a little bit of an excerpt on it, and then I have like what is a 401k plan and what is a mutual fund.
Okay.
So I have a little bit there, and then what is like investing in the stock market too.
I like it.
Sounds Gucci.
I was listening to one of Dave Ramsey's things today, and it was like, which he used a 12% interest rate. And it was like, if you invest $100 for 40 years, so like age 25 to 65 or age 30 to 70, you'll retire with like 1.1 million, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
And that's where he's like, you spend $100 a month and you don't even know it.
So I have the average return S&P 500 index is 9.8%. So if you literally should invest in index funds the rest of your life, you earn about 9.8%. Let's take a conservative measure of 8%.
Yep.
Let's say you invest from age 25 to 65, and you want to retire with $1 million. How much will you have to invest a month? $280.
We're back. What do you spend $280 on a month?
Coffee, bread,
Cable, phones, going out to eat coffee every morning. I'm gonna put live like no one else. So
Did you end up going out last night, or did you stay in?
I stayed in. I stayed at the missionary's house and had a few beers for about an hour, but I was home by like 11.
Yeah.
Watched the episode of Desperate Housewives on Hulu, and then went to bed at midnight. Woke up at 9.
I used to watch the show all the time.
It's so good. It's juicy. It's not good for me.
So much drama.
Oh, so much drama.
What are the plans for tonight?
Not a clue.
Not
Do you
a
have any
clue.
plans?
I really don't.
I'm so bad at. I don't know. Let's see what Kendall's doing, but tomorrow night I'm going to Abe's bachelor party. It's just like playing cards, games, maybe go to the bars, drink some. It's at Mike and Phillips' house.
In Kearney?
So see what they all want to do. But I think they talked about like having a poker tournament too.
There you go.
They're going paintballing in the afternoon, but I'm like, it's gonna be pretty cold and like.
It's gonna be so cold tomorrow.
I was like, I think I'll sit that one out. But
What time do Huskies play tomorrow?
6:30, I think. I don't know what it's like in Purdue.
Yeah.
Or in West Lafayette.
Yeah.
Should still have like 40 seconds left. And we're back on the weekly allowance here on 91.1 KLPR. So for this next 15 minutes or so of the show, we want to talk about what you need to do to become a millionaire. And so we kind of have 3 different things that we want to hit on. The first one is spending, and the second one will be your income, and then the last one will be savings. So we're going to start talking about spending and what you can do with your spending and how you can kind of limit that a little bit to help you become a millionaire in the future.
Yeah, so there's really 3 main ways to becoming a millionaire, right? Spending, income, and saving, just like Luke mentioned. And so we're going to discuss each topic in detail, but let's start with spending because I think that's one of the most important parts of this equation. I think living below your means is such an important area of building your wealth to become a millionaire. And the process really involves a few different things. It involves, first of all, getting and staying out of debt. I think that's one of the most important topics and parts of this equation. The next is earning more than you spend, and obviously we track this using our monthly budget, right? And then the last one is factoring in saving into your spending, so you're able to account for all three of those variables. And so the biggest takeaway for me on this segment is spending less than you make, and that's so key. I think we've illustrated that topic with talking about individuals who haven't made over $50,000 or $60,000 and have been able to become millionaires.
Yeah, I think it all comes back to kind of what I was saying last segment of, as a society, we've kind of defined it as those who have money spend lavishly, and if you don't show it, then you don't have it. And I think that's what hurts a lot of people when it comes to spending, is they want to spend a lot of money so then they can look good. And that's just not always necessarily the case. If you spend your money on these lavish items, then obviously if you don't have the money to spend on that, or that's what all your income is going to, it's going to be a lot tougher to become a millionaire. So like I said, when you become that millionaire, maybe multi-millionaire, then you have some room to spend lavishly. But don't spend lavishly just to make it appear as if you are a millionaire. And when it comes to spending, it can be easy to take into account how people are going to judge you, maybe based on your choice in foods or beverages, your suit, what watch you wear, what vehicle you drive. But I would say that's an unfortunate way to look at how people judge you. They shouldn't be judging you on all those different things. They should be judging you on your character, on your integrity, some of those different things that we talked about earlier. And I would say you just need to be a little bit frugal. It doesn't need to be, a lot of people like to define it as being cheap, and that's another way to define it, I guess. But I define it as being frugal, which is just your behavior is characterized by or reflecting the economy and the use of its resources. So you just need to be a little bit more frugal with your money, cheap in a sense, but I think frugal is a good word of, maybe it's being conservative, I guess is another good word for it, with your money, and not always looking for that instant gratification, I guess is what a lot of people do when they are looking at spending, is just, how can I have instant gratification? It's probably going to be buying the nicest thing and having people think highly of me. And being frugal is kind of stepping aside from that instant gratification, I guess.
Yeah, and I would define it as really being smart. It's you have that discipline to delay that gratification right now, so that later you're going to be able to be financially secure in your future. And so you don't have to go out and spend all this money. You don't have to go out and get credit cards and drive fancy cars and have high mortgages. You can live below your means, and as we illustrate, and as we will illustrate as part of the show, living below your means is one of the key areas to building that path to becoming a millionaire.
Yes, that is incredibly, very, very true. And that'll take us kind of to our next point, I guess, is growing your income, having a steady income, and how your income can affect you being a millionaire. And so we talked a little bit in the earlier segment of, you don't necessarily have to have a huge annual income to become a millionaire, but it does help when you do have that bigger annual income. So we don't think it's impossible if you are making maybe a substandard income, but a few ways that you could grow your income to maybe help you become that millionaire is finding maybe a part-time job on the side if you're looking to get a little bit more savings, because sometimes if you're just making a few $1,000s for your monthly income and you have to pay, for your monthly income, and you have to pay rent and your utilities and maybe for a car or something, and you're trying to save up and you're trying to do all these different things, it can be tough to set some savings aside for your retirement or for that becoming a millionaire. So maybe if you do things like being a DJ on the weekends, or mowing lawns, shoveling snow, walking dogs, being a pet sitter, being a referee or an umpire. I know a lot of people that deliver pizzas on the weekends, or being babysitters. If you're a teacher, I've always thought of maybe being a private tutor for kids. There's a lot of different ways where you can do these part-time jobs that might not take a whole lot of hours, but you can get some income coming in that you can just really literally throw into your savings right away when it comes in.
Yeah, your income is really a huge wealth building tool. And so when your income is committed to payments to other people, you really don't have control over it. And so your income is so important to becoming, it's such an important factor in becoming a millionaire. However, I don't believe it's the only thing that you can use to build your wealth. although yes, having a higher income can make it a little bit easier to get on that route to becoming a millionaire. But obviously, if you make $500,000 a year, it won't, or at least it shouldn't, take you very long to become a millionaire. And there's so many calls into Dave Ramsey of individuals retiring that have never made over a certain amount of money in their lifetimes. And that just really illustrates that anyone, no matter what range of income you have, can eventually become a millionaire. And so, yes, the higher your income is, the more you're able to put away for savings. So I would agree with Luke on that. Do everything and anything you can to increase your income, at least so you're able to live comfortably. But the real important aspect in this equation is how much of your income are you able to put away towards savings each month?
Yeah, and that's something we talked about when we talked about our budgeting. Is a lot of people see that extra money during the month and they think it needs to go towards maybe another expense, or let's put it away for a family vacation, or let's do something else with it, and sometimes that can be a good thing. But I encourage people that if you do have that extra money in your budget, you have that extra money at the end of the month, a savings account or a retirement fund, or doing something to increase that that probability of becoming a millionaire is a much better way of using that extra money at the end of the month for your future. And it's all about, kind of like what I say, or what Dave Ramsey says a lot, is live like no one else, so later you can live and give like no one else. So when you do these things, it's obviously not fun. If it was fun, then everyone would be doing it. But when you maybe don't go on that family vacation that one year, or you don't buy that new dress, or that new apparel item, or you end up saving some money. Saving isn't always fun, but it sets you up for a fun future.
Yeah, and that's a great segue into our last part of this millionaire equation, if you will, which is saving. Saving is one of the most important tools, and I believe it's the most important tool that we can use to become millionaires. Savings is really everything to building wealth. Saving has a huge impact on our financial status for several different reasons. First, savings involves taking advantage of platforms such as 401ks, IRAs, mutual funds, and stocks. And this is my major, so I might get a little overly excited about talking about this on air. But ultimately, investing allows us to build wealth because of the power of compound interest. And obviously, taking these finance classes, I understand the power and all of the implications of compound interest. But I'm just going to define it really quick for you guys. So compound interest is calculated on the initial principal and also on the accumulated interest on previous periods. So it can be thought of as really an interest on interest. And it will make the sum grow at a faster rate than simple interest, obviously, because of the calculated, not only on the principal amount, but also on the accumulated dividends that you're earning on that sum of money. The rate at which compound interest accrues depends on the frequency, of course, of compounding. So if something's compounding annually compared to monthly, obviously monthly is going to earn you interest faster and thus allow your money to grow at an even faster pace.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to compound interest or putting your money away in those accounts, there's a big factor in the age that you start putting your money in those accounts, and that can really deter your savings in a way that will help you in the future. Whereas if you start saving at the age of 50 years old and you hold off until then, and then you start investing in those accounts, you're not going to have a lot of money. I mean, it's going to take you 20, 30, 40 years to build up a good amount of money, depending on how much you're putting in those accounts. Whereas if you start saving when maybe you're 25 years old, 30 years old, and you save for the next 40 years and you just keep growing those accounts, you're going to have a lot more money than when you wait for 30 years to start saving to when you're 50 years old or something like that. So I think one of the biggest factors that can help you when you start to save is doing it at a young age and doing it frequently at a young age.
Yeah, that's so true. Obviously, if we start now, it's going to be easier on us when we're getting older. But that doesn't mean that, if you are approaching retirement age, that you're not, that putting money away isn't worth it anymore. It's always worth it to put money away. And I would always encourage you to, if you're not doing it, at least start, and at least start to get an idea of what you need to put away. And so we talked a little bit about compound interest. So how do we take advantage of that? Well, we take advantage of compound interest through the power of investing our money. And so how do we do this? Well, there are several platforms such as 401ks, IRAs, mutual funds, and stocks. And so obviously we've heard of these terms like 401k and IRAs, but so by definition, a 401k is an arrangement between you and your employer about taking either compensation in cash or deferring a percentage of it to your 401k account under the plan. And a lot of these 401ks are now matched by employers. And so that is a great way to get a little bit more of your income to go to savings each week, or each month, excuse me. And so the amount is usually not taxable by the employee until it is withdrawn or at least distributed from the plan. However, an employee can make 401k contributions on an after-tax basis, which these accounts are known as Roth 401ks, and they're generally tax-free once they're withdrawn. And so 401k plans, mutual funds are also another great investment tool. I know Dave Ramsey is a huge advocate for mutual funds, and I think that's what most of his net worth and his financial income is invested toward. So mutual funds are investment vehicles that are made up of pools of money, if you will, that are collected from many investors for the purpose of investing in securities such as stocks, bonds, and money market instruments. Mutual funds are operated by professional money managers who allocate the funds based on what they think is going to earn the highest return, and there's also categories that you can invest in. There are different categories such as growth and income, international, all sorts of things. We'll probably touch on these a little bit more in depth on a later show that we do at the weekly allowance. But so those are mutual funds. Another great way to grow and utilize the power of compound interest is investing in the stock market, obviously. And so the stock market is known for having what we call index funds, which really provide you a return on your money that follows the market. So you're not going to earn any less, you're not going to earn any more than what the stock market is returning. And so there are many markets, but one of the main ones is the S&P 500, and the average S&P 500 index has earned an annual rate of 9.8% interest over the entire life of the fund. And so you can think of that compound interest of being 9.8% on your money, whatever you put in, compounded, obviously interest on interest, continuously throughout your investing career.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing with that when it comes to investing your money is a lot of people want to work for their money, but it's really important when you make your money work for you as well. So yes, you need to work to earn that money, but when you can make that money work for you by investing in these mutual funds or the 401k or stocks and bonds, whatever it may be, when you can make your money work a little bit for you, it's going to be a lot easier to become a millionaire as well, rather than just putting it in the savings account at an average bank where it's growing less than 1%. That's going to be a lot tougher to become a millionaire when you're just throwing all your money into those savings accounts. Yes, they could be less risky, but a lot of these ones we just mentioned really aren't risky at all. They're not really risky options. Your money is going to grow. Maybe it's not always going to be 8 or 9%. Maybe some years it'll be 4 or 5%, but it's not really a risky option that you're throwing your money all into one pool with. But yeah, just that's a great thing, is just to make your money work for you. You work for your money first, then make it work for you, and it'll be a lot easier to becoming a millionaire.
I think saving is the key to becoming a millionaire. If you don't have money that's working for you on the side, it's going to be a heck of a lot harder to become a millionaire in your lifetime. And so let's do a fun example really quick. So let's assume from age 25 to age 65, right? Most of us are approaching mid-20s. So let's say we invest for 40 years from age 25 to 65, earning a pretty conservative measure of 8% interest. Let's say we want to become millionaires by the time we retire at that 65 years of age. How much per month do you think we'll have to put away to become a millionaire? Well, Luke and I ran the numbers, and you will need to put away $286 a month if you want to become a millionaire by age 65, starting now, earning a conservative measure of 8%. Now, you know, some years you'll earn way more, and some years you'll earn a little bit less, but on average, you'll earn about 8%. You'll need to put away $286 a month.
Yeah, and that's it. Maybe to some people that might seem like, oh, $286, where am I going to find that? and that can be a little scary, I guess. But I would say, where can't you find that $286 a month from? Think about your cable bill. Think about your phone bill. Think about how much you go out to eat a month. Think about maybe the coffee you drink every morning, or the clothes that you buy. Funny thing that Dave Ramsey always says is the reason they have people check your receipts when you go out to Costco or that you go out to Sam's Club is because they have to make sure you spent $200 before you walk out of the store. So it's a big thing of think of your budget a little bit and think of where you might be able to cut out some of that spending. Yes, living a life without cable or a very nice phone and living life buying groceries instead of going out to eat every weekend, that's a tough life to live, and it's not the most fun life to live, but it's the whole thing of living like no one else. Not a lot of people live that way. So if you can live that way and live like no one else does, then you'll be the one retiring with a lot of money and then living the life that you want to in your future.
Yes, Dave Ramsey always says, live like no one else, so later you can live and give like no one else. And I think it's going to be a little bit of work starting out. You know, you're going to have to kind of dig and scrape to find that $286 or however much you want to be able to retire with that $1 million. But once you get going and once you develop that budget, once you have that stable income, I think we're going to find it a lot easier than we maybe are picturing it in our minds to find that money to put away each month. Obviously, we can denote that right in our budget to take away $286 out of our paycheck each month and just put it towards our 401k or put it in the stock market or some form of investment vehicle in order to start having your money work for you and start earning that compound interest. And once we do that, I think we're going to find it kind of fun, kind of easy to start building our wealth and get on that path to becoming a millionaire.
Yeah, it's like everyone says, it just takes a little bit of time to, once you do it, the hardest part of doing a lot of things in life is just starting it. And once you start it, it becomes a lot easier after that. So it just takes a little bit of determination and kind of figuring out your situation as well. So that does it for this segment, talking about the 3 main factors of becoming a millionaire and what you can do with your own life on how to become a millionaire. We're going to take a short break here. And when we come back, we're going to take one of Dave Ramsey's millionaire calls from the gentleman that was a lawnmower for his whole life, and you're not going to want to miss this, how much money he spent or how much money he saved mowing lawns. So we'll listen to that when we come back. It's 42 minutes past the hour. This is the Weekly Allowance. Oh, biscuits.
I don't know if I want to. I've been debating on whether or not I should go out and get a Halloween costume. I don't know what I'd wear.
I wish I just could just buy one that I could just wear for the rest of my life.
Every
year.
year. No kidding.
Like a morph suit. I feel like a morph suit would be super easy. Just wear a morph suit of something for the rest of your life.
Oh yeah. I've thought about doing just getting a tourist outfit and just getting a disposable camera. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
That'd be easy, I mean.
Very easy. You take pictures and
yeah.
I'm gonna have to be find something to do with that jacket that I bought from Goodwill.
Oh yeah. Oh, I should. Oh gosh, I should not use my costume. Oh, that'd be funny though. I do have that kind of. It's kind of revealing though.
Be like a hillbilly.
Hillbilly?
I mean, there's some cool morph suits. cost, but
I think they're pretty expensive, actually.
you buy like a Power Ranger morph suit. Spider-Man. Yeah, I think they're probably a little expensive. It'd be super cold. It's literally just like.
Oh man, yeah, it's nothing.
You can buy like a those dummies they have in cars when they do like crash tests. You can buy a dummy morph suit.
Really?
Mario, in like overalls.
Yeah, I think that's what Marshall's gonna be actually. He did overalls.
Cool one I did one time in high school was we had like a dress up day for at Aurora, and I went as a golfer, and then someone went as my caddy. And
Really?
They just followed me around with like a little bag of clubs and
That's
like
awesome.
they had like a little caddy bid.
I just don't know. I don't want to spend like a lot of money because I don't know if I'll wear it like once.
Right.
And if I think I'm gonna wear it. Oh my goodness. Like I'll probably wear it on Marshall's party gloves.
Jack Siska.
There we go. How much time we got?
A minute and a half.
That's just horrible.
Just got a question from our friend Jared Bowler.
Next thing you see pop up, Luke Grosskopf says left of the group chat.
A minute left.
The video is 6 minutes?
Yeah, about 5.5.
I don't know. I might not go out tonight and just save it for tomorrow. I still haven't paid Marshall for the party list though.
Oh really?
Because I have the honors dinner tomorrow.
Okay.
And I think that's gonna get over around like 7:30.
Mm.
And I don't want the bus to like leave me.
Okay.
So I'm gonna text Marshall and see what time it's leaving. But.
Right. And we're back on the weekly allowance here on 91.1 KLPR. For the last segment of the show, we wanted to show you a video from Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey does a theme hour called the Millionaire Theme Hour, where he has people that are millionaires, again, that's people that have a net worth of $1 million, call into his show and he just asks them different questions on how they became a millionaire. So we're going to show that. We're going to show a quick video from one of those segments to you, and then we'll debrief it for the last few minutes of the show. So here it is. All right, so what an inspirational video from a man that started with nothing. I mean, didn't inherit any of his wealth, dropped out of high school, got a GED later on in life, does not have a college degree, started making $1.75 after high school at a grocery store, didn't even know what a GPA really was in high school, didn't really determine what his future came out to be, didn't start saving until he was in the year 2000, so 17 years ago. And in that 17 years, he's been able to build up this net worth of $2.1 million by cutting grass for a living. Can't think of a much more inspiring situation, inspiring story to kind of wrap up the show a little bit.
Yeah, this is so motivating, not only to me, but I think anybody listening right now. I think if you listen to that, that makes you feel like you could go out and do anything. And the biggest takeaway for me was when he mentioned that, don't become discouraged. You have to get up every day and you have to work for it. And I think his story there illustrates the hard work that he's put in to build this $2.1 million net worth. He's a one-man show. He mows lawns. That's hard work. I think Luke can attest. That's hard work. Getting out, mowing lawns, trimming bushes and everything like that. To build up, his range of income is $100,000 mowing lawns. That illustrates nothing but hard work and dedication to becoming financially secure. And you heard him early on. Taking out debt was detrimental to his financial success. And so that's another thing that I took away from the video is, if you get started early, think about how much more you can do, how much more. And what's really awesome is that he dropped out of high school. And I think that illustrates further that you don't need this master's degree, you don't need this PhD to go out and make an honest living.
I think a lot of people that say, oh, the American dream of going out and getting a job and working hard and making a good wage has ended. And I think you hear a lot of people say that on a daily basis. I know I've heard it a lot of times. And he totally debunked everything about that statement. The American dream is still out there. You can still maybe even not get a college degree, maybe even not get a high school degree, and still be successful if you're willing to work hard. And that's so inspiring to me because, I mean, that's something I even think on a daily basis is, does hard work even pay off anymore? And it totally shows off in this video. Works 6 days a week for about 85 hours a week. That's 2 full-time jobs, more than 2 full-time jobs. And I love how he said, and I'm trying to cut back a little bit to 70 hours a week. Cutting back is 70 hours a week. Like, I thought he was going to say, I'm going to cut back to 40 and have a full-time job now instead of 2 full-time jobs. That's just insane. And how, like how you said, he does everything himself and really doesn't really ask for anything in return. He's like, okay, I'm just going to go out there, I get up every day, I work hard, put in my 12 hours a day, 13 hours a day, and then goes home and doesn't complain. Just an inspiring attitude to have. And you hear a lot of people in life say, I can't do it because ... insert your excuse here, but this guy just did it.
He definitely did do it. And another main takeaway that I took away from the story there was he was able to save around 80% of his income now. And I think that illustrates that once you get to that point in your life, you're able to put so much more of your income away towards savings. And so maybe, it's obviously not going to happen early on in our lives, but once you get to, having that, financially secure bank account and those investments, you're able to put away more money, and that's going to accumulate more and more retirement savings so that you can eventually retire a millionaire.
Yeah, so I would say in conclusion after that video, just make the most out of your situation that you're in. I think we all get stuck in bad situations. We all face burdens throughout our life, financial burdens throughout our life that can make this millionaire thing seem impossible. But when we watch videos like this, and there's many other videos on Dave Ramsey's channel about these millionaire calls, and some of them, yes, had that $100,000, $200,000 income for their whole life, and it became easy. But then there's people like this that had very little education, started out from nothing, and have been able to accumulate $2.1 million. I know I listened to one story about a plumber that has managed to save over $2 million as well. And just the trades that can work in our country today, it's something that I think we're lacking in our country today. And if you can do it really well and you can work hard like this gentleman does, you can make the most out of your life.
I'm definitely inspired. I don't know about you, but I think I'm going to go start my own lawn mowing business. But that is an incredible story, and I hope our viewers were able to take a lot away from that today. So over the show, I hope we were able to kind of sum up some millionaire mythbusters for you, that not all millionaires are crooks, or not all millionaires drive nice cars, and obviously, as we just learned, not all millionaires make this huge net income. Hopefully we were able to point out some important ways to becoming a millionaire, such as controlling and living below your means, controlling your income, and saving in platforms like 401ks and mutual funds and retirement accounts and like that. And hopefully we were able to inspire and motivate you toward the end of the segment by showing you that video. And I know I'm inspired now, even more so than coming into the show today. So I think it was a great show, and I'm really excited to talk about, not only how to become a millionaire, but start to work towards becoming a millionaire.
Yes, very inspiring show. Good work to the both of us. And that does it for another episode of the Weekly Allowance. Again, tune in next Friday at 3 o'clock. We'll be here again talking about our next topic. In the meantime, and it means a lot after this show, whether you're young or old, don't put your future on hold.
Oh, good show.
I know.
That's fun.
That last segment was great.